One thing that I wanted to make sure, and Eric and I just talked about this, is I want to get some interaction from this room before we break. I would like to know 3 or 4 people, just go to the microphone and just give us one takeaway that you've got from the last 3 days that you plan on implementing when you get back into your office. And as Austin just said, not upsetting the apple cart back at your office, because your employees don't always like all the change that you're going to come back with. But what is something, as we like to say in CG, going from 0 to 1 that you took away from this meeting that you can apply tomorrow to put the gas on dominating during any of this downturn? Bill.
Well, this is kind of cheating because we were already thinking about implementing it, but we're definitely going to put the Empire system door in our business, taking it from the traction up to Empire, because I think it's very powerful.
Thank you for sharing that, Bill. Bill, Mom.
I've been annoyed since Monday when Eric was talking about taprooting, how that would impact our market, given that we already do novations, and the instance came up this morning. Instead of double closing on a property and not bringing disclosure through the publicity of the MLS, that would be like an ultimate way if we had those off-market relationships with retail buyers. In that specific instance, it would be phenomenal. So we kind of put that together, how that may work in our work.
I know Leon really wanted one thing, or different voices, it was the 12 or 14 things that implement. But I will say the one biggest thing is that we're going to put more attention on our buyers, similar to what we had been giving to our sellers. That was the one big takeaway for you in the downturn.
There's 2 real reasons you should strongly consider walking to the microphone. 1, the rest of the group may be inspired by your idea, your perspective. And number 2, accountability. Right? If you don't share what you're thinking about doing with the rest of the group, who's going to hold you accountable when you put the book away and put it in your book bag and go home? Just think about that for a second.
Okay, so Ben Mon shared a tactical dispo related thing. One of the big takeaways I'm going to go back with is just all the conversation around the uncertainty in the market, the potential emotional weight that's going to create. I think the last piece about pouring into our team emotionally, making sure we're supporting them, making sure we're working on their development, that's going to be a big takeaway, is going back and making sure we're providing development opportunities for them. There was a conversation about coaches from within in our hot seat room that was phenomenal. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, my kind of plays right along with that. You know, when we look back at day 1, we're talking about dominating the downturn. You know, I think some people were maybe coming in here looking for like a magic formula, like, hey, when do I do this? When do I do that? Looking back at day 1, a lot of it was refocusing on the purpose, why you're doing things, what you're going to do with your team. Making sure your team is on the same page with all that stuff. I know I have to be a better leader at that, and going back and implementing that. So that's what we're going to do. That's for sure.
He stole mine. But I'm going to add to that is when your team has a purpose, there's more fire to the room. So to me, that was immensely powerful.
30% more productivity is the slide that Gary showed on Tuesday. 30% more, a lot.
And the other 5 takeaways that I have, build so stack cash, have it or have access to it directly. Build your executive team, know your numbers, diversify, and have a fun. Mission, vision, core values, positive culture, brand, and strategy.
Mother, thank you.
Following up on the last 2 guys, it really, for me, comes back to the purpose. We started it off on the first day, and I had the benefit of sitting in the room with the multifamily guys that are just absolutely crushing it. And regardless of whether they had 5,000 doors or they were raising hundreds of millions of dollars, everybody had the same theme, and it came back to the core of the purpose, the why. And so I know for us, we've been in this for 7 years, and it's very easy to lose sight of why we started this off in the first place, and it's not something that we within our company talk about very often. And so just it was an unbelievable reminder of how important it is to remind yourself and talk about it openly. So going to be taking them back to the team.
Thank you for sharing that. And I can tell you, Eric probably had a big smile on his face, because this leadership team for 3 months, after we're done here, we'll be looking at the next meeting and how we can continue to help you all thrive through any market. And that was Eric's biggest piece of this meeting was, obviously we want to help you dominate through the downturn, but where does it all start? That was Eric's idea, and I'm glad to hear, I heard a lot of you talk about that, and starting with that set the tone for this meeting.
Yeah, this is incredibly impactful in Mark's room for the multifamily, and a lot of people share some great things. One guy that I've seen him share before, but he shared something very powerful, is Jason Roberts, and he talked about a succession plan. And he actually talked about some people in his family passed away, and he had some things inherited to him, and he had to become a trustee. I thought it was really powerful when somebody had a plan already put together for that succession, but it also came back to me, and I realized I do not. I do not have a big succession plan at all. So that was one of the big things that was really impactful for me to, something, God forbid, to happen. Who's going to take over some things? And it's always hard to have those conversations now, but it's better to have the conversations.
Thank you, Corey. And Vance, finish us off. Oh, great. Sorry. Go ahead.
So bringing focus in with my wife and getting her involved to understand what's happening here. So just as much as I kind of bring back and invest in the team, it's going back and also doing the same thing with my family.
I would love to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. I was looking over there for they took off. Yeah.
So I'm probably one of the only people in the room that's old enough to have been in most of those slides, age-wise, that Bruce was sharing. So I started in 1989, so I can have an appreciation for what he was sharing. But since I'm in a sales role for a lender, I think that one of the big takeaways for me is to make sure that our operations team has access indirectly, essentially, to what I get exposed to here and what we can do better so that we can help all of you dominate through this potential downturn. So that's a big takeaway.
Thank you, Brian. All right, gentlemen, final thoughts. Eric, you have the microphone. We'll pass that to Mark.
So for me, I think it's pretty simple. I came here with just read a book not too long ago. Some of you might know where this quote came from, but we call it productive paranoia. I had some productive paranoia coming into these 3 days, and I feel like as a result of what we put together and what I was able to accomplish in these last 3 days, that's now become excitement. I'm actually excited when I leave here. So I'm just super thankful for the group. I've had a ton. I was out walking with Steve Trang at like 1 in the morning last night, just talking. I've literally had probably a dozen of those conversations while I've been here. I've been in the group for almost 5 years, and for me, this is one of the most, I don't know if rewarding is the right word, but it's been probably one of the most anticipated, maybe then other than my first one. This is one of the most anticipated meetings I've been to, and I feel like I got exactly what I needed. So from a selfish perspective, I'm very happy to leave here excited when I came in with a little bit of anxiousness.
Had a really impactful room that left me with a lot of takeaways, one of which was a consistent non-negotiable for everybody in our room was time. Time, not negotiating away your time. The other one was the more you help others, you will get what you want, right? So go help, and it's kind of the theme of really the whole Mastermind, which is the more you give, the scales of receiving will tip in your favor. That seems to be an underlying current throughout. And then Steve Lloyd left something that was pretty powerful in my mind, which was your investors are your marketing arm. If you, as a sales and dispositions role, your investors that are buying your assets can be your marketing arm for you if you treat them with the respect that they deserve. Again, thinking through dispositions as the new acquisitions. It's been a pleasure to be up here on stage. Don't take that lightly, and thank you all for coming.
So when we start this, can you tell that we don't know exactly where it's going to go, but we have an arc. You guys see that? Like, we start off with, what do we do first thing Tuesday? Right? Mindset and purpose. Where do we go to in the afternoon Tuesday? Tactical, practical, from Marcus to people in their businesses who are doing these things. My room had a feel of those similar types of things. And then we came back today, what we talked about was a little bit of it. By a show of hands, how many people in this room have been through a divorce? How hard is it? I have not, I was put them up, but how hard is it to get through a divorce and focus on the business? Very, very difficult. So what we think we tried to hit on and touch on is a little bit of everything. We want you to leave empowered. My goal, my big thing was we just need to know what's happening, and let's, if you guys come back 90 days from now empowered, and you take whatever is happening and you attack it the right way for you, your business, your family, that feels like control. Did anyone see what Jerome Powell said yesterday while we were in this room? Housing needs a bit of a reset. That's what he said yesterday while we were here. A bit of a reset. What does that mean? I don't know. But I do know this. I just saw 4 decades of history. I do know what to pay attention to. We saw the charts. We saw charts just like that over the past 3 days. You should feel empowered. Yesterday, you might say it was, I think yesterday was news. Fed chairman comes out and says a bit of a reset. I'm paying attention to that. There's probably going to be a lot of noise around it. But see what starts to happen in that. Make good decisions. Take deep breaths. Don't react to the noise. Be empowered and make the right move for you. That's our hope. That's our goal. One of the things that Bruce talked about was how to grow generational wealth in 1 generation. I grew up broke. I'm trying. I think everybody in this room for the last 3 days, if you were paying attention, should be empowered, and you can jump, leap, go wherever you want to go if you implement.
Well said.